wait,
work?
We didn't have the
Oh, okay. So going back, we had a little glitch this morning. Our DreamCatcher.
Oh, wait, we had a glitch. We didn't have the
Sound on?
sound wasn't on once again. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's May 15th.
Again.
My name's Paul.
And I'm Bev.
So here we are.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. We were going to go to the dream.
DreamCatcher.
When we get into these kind of situations, my mind just goes blank.
Bring it back in.
All right, so we're back. Here we are. So we're going to share with you the DreamCatcher.
DreamCatcher. Actually, this lovely global cooperative work, it's hanging in our center in Tucson. And it was envisioned by Lorraine Mills and created on December 12th, 2012. And it's beautiful.
And every week we put a picture of someone in the middle, and we have this week Terry Hardee.
Terry Hardee.
Yes, sirree. Terry's been with us a long time, and she's now the treasurer of our board.
She is.
And so we've put her into the DreamCatcher, and she's over actually right now getting worked on.
I know, it's
Yes.
great. She's having her biotouch session
Once or
this
twice
morning.
a week she comes in.
It does. Yeah.
So Terry Hardee, we love you. We're glad that you're in the center this week. And
absolutely.
if any of you out there would like to be in the center of our DreamCatcher, just send us a photo and a picture of where you reside on the planet.
Wow.
And Bev will choose your name. Every week we choose somebody different.
Yeah.
Except she won't be here next week to choose it, and we'll talk about that later.
Oh, I feel like a traitor here.
So we did want to let you know the IONS presentation, which was really an awesome presentation.
It was.
Did you have a good time at that?
I did.
Yes.
It was wonderful.
And
I knew it was going to be special, though.
Yeah, and a lot of people did. We just had a note from someone saying, it was nice, how Paul put humor and seriousness together.
I know.
I thought that was a good little description of it.
You're very good at that.
Yeah,
You really are.
So they're really fun, and they're all on YouTube now on our BioTouch One YouTube site.
I know.
They're in 4 different segments, about 20 minutes each. So check them out, and it would really help us if you do the little thumbs up and subscribe. Yeah. If you subscribe, you'll start getting all of our YouTube videos that are going up there. These are on there too. They're on our website also.
Yeah.
So
Great.
check that out. And so last week we talked about our IONS presentation and also our work that we did with the refugees and the immigrants and the working poor. And we had a question.
Yeah.
About
and
that.
those were like Friday night and Saturday.
Yeah.
So back to back. Yeah.
So we had a question from someone in the audience. We love the questions.
I know.
It says, I love your show.
Oh, look at that.
You've asked people to send in questions, so here's mine. Last Friday, you shared BioTouch with attendees at the IONS presentation in the foothills of Tucson. And last Saturday, you shared BioTouch with, quote, disadvantaged people at a church in South Tucson. What differences did you notice in the way those people reacted to being touched? Good question.
Real good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think one thing we need to explain to people, because not everybody's from Tucson, is what's the difference between the foothills and what's considered the south part of Tucson.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the foothills is sort of the area, which I guess in most towns is like that.
It's been my experience, if you live in the foothills, you're more affluent?
Yeah, more affluent. The houses are more expensive. Shopping is more expensive.
Right.
So that's where the IONS group is at the Unity Church up in there.
Right.
And when you move to the southern part of Tucson, where we were at the Tucson Baptist Church, they really have a community of people there that are the immigrant population, the refugees, and the working poor. Yeah. So you really get a real separate, and it's not even 12 miles from one end to the other.
Not even.
Where you can go, a gallon of milk in the foothills could cost you, $2 more than it does at a store in the south part of Tucson.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So it was a really neat experience to touch all these different kinds of socio-economic populations.
Yeah.
And so the question was, how did they react?
Yeah, how did they react? Well, that's a great question because, we always, we keep putting out there that BioTouch is an equalizer. that loving touch belongs to every single person. It's inherent in our whole body to not just accept it, but to give it, to be able to give it, to give and receive. That's, BioTouch allows each of us to enter into both sides of a relationship. I can be a practitioner, but then I'm also a recipient. So, when I'm in that relationship, whatever I'm doing, I am entering into, this loving companionship, a relationship of healing. So affluent, when we talk about affluency, one of the definitions that we found out was it's an abundant flow. And in BioTouch case, what is it? It's an abundant flow of love. And so for me, when I am receiving it as a recipient, I feel my whole life is more affluent because I'm receiving this great blessing, this abundant flow of love.
And so it's interesting because that's what we found in the two different areas was everybody was the same.
Yeah.
Everybody reacted the same. Everybody, when you do BioTouch with people in those kinds of, in any setting really, people will sort of take a breath. Some people will close their eyes, and we do maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and everybody opens their eyes and goes, "Wow!"
Wow,
yeah. A wow experience.
And it must be because what do we always say that we share? The one thing that humanity shares is a body, and we're all experiencing pain and suffering and dis-ease and everything else that the body holds from our experiences. It's the same. I don't care if it's in the foothills or at a little Baptist church in the South Side, where we are dealing with human beings who respond to BioTouch, a loving touch. We keep saying it over and over. It belongs to every single one of us.
And the beautiful thing too was everybody could learn it, and we actually showed it to people. Not only did we do it, we could show it to people.
That little boy touching his.
Do I have the picture here?
I don't know, but you showed
teaching a youngster.
Yeah,
there it is.
Look at that.
That was down at the church.
What a gift.
And that little boy came with his father, and we just taught him how to do the neck. And he just followed me with my fingers there,
So
and then
sweet.
he did a couple on his own.
Yeah.
And that's so those people now have something. They have a fluency now.
Yeah.
They
There you
have
go.
been given abundance. Having BioTouch is being abundant.
It increases the affluency and the abundance in your life just by, not just receiving it, but learning the technique and being able to share that with another human being. I mean, talk about enriching your life.
I had this teacher I read about once, and he said, affluency is affluency when you give it away.
Well, now, isn't that just appropriate for BioTouch? Because what are we saying?
Yes.
BioTouch is a gift, and what do? You give the gift away. And when you give something away, you're just filled up. I mean, that's just the way it happens. The more that you give, the more that you are expanded.
Which is why people always say to me, so you've been doing this for 25 years? Don't you get bored?
Oh, right. Of course.
It's like, how could you be so bored when you're allowed to participate so intimately with people? Like you're in their space. You touch them at that point.
Sacred.
Yes.
A sacred space for them.
Right below the breastbone and that soft tissue, and you're there. There's no, for a moment, there's no distance. There's no difference. So it doesn't matter whether you're from the foothills or from the south part of Tucson.
Right.
Whether you live in Timbuktu or in Beverly Hills.
Yeah. That touch.
Everybody needs it.
That touch just, it just breaks down all the barriers between us.
Which is interesting because that's why that CIA agent said, this is a real revolution. This is a revolution of love.
Oh, wow. It's so powerful.
And that's what a revolution does. It breaks down the barriers. It
yeah.
equalizes all of us.
Right.
So, So that was a great question.
That
and,
was a great question. Thank you.
I can't wait to hear how we answered that.
Yeah. Well.
So what we'd like to share also today is a little bit from the book. We want to try and read a chapter, not a chapter, a part of a chapter in the book. And this is BioTouch Healing with the Power in Our Fingertips by Deborah Schildhouse.
Yes, it is. And, I just want to say that in the beginning of each of her chapters, Deborah quotes a saying from a great teacher or just, somebody and it kind of ties in with the subject of the chapter. So, and from chapter 8, it's called Imparting Their Knowledge. And this is a quote from Khalil Gibran's book, The Prophet. The teacher who walks in the shadow of the temple among his followers gives not of his wisdom, but rather of his faith and lovingness. If he is indeed wise, he does not bid you enter the house of his wisdom, but rather lead you to the threshold of your own mind. So I just like to read the first paragraph. Are you kidding me? That's how you erased your personal history? You divorced your family? Paul was back at my house a week later, explaining one of Grandfather's main teachings. Erasing personal history was a concept he briefly mentioned the week before. So, Grandfather, well, I have a question for you. So, how did Grandfather, when you were studying with him, how did he influence you to get, decide to get BioTouch into the world?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of it's in the book, but Grandfather that was a lot of philosophical teaching, reading Gibran and Shakespeare and all the different writings since back when he was raised in the 20s, the different kinds of scriptures and mystical teachings. And so a lot of that was about erasing personal history and, of course, getting rid of your ego, right, like you can.
Yeah,
so,
right. Yeah.
So, you're trying to get rid of your ego. It's like a funny thing. It's like that which is trying to get rid of the ego is the ego. So,
that ain't going to happen.
So anyhow, you're on this path. And so when I met Norman and doing this body work, because part of the teaching is, well, the body's not real, right? I still hurt myself and I still had a back pain. Wait a minute. I thought it wasn't real.
Right.
So, I'm working with the philosophical teachings and I meet Norman, who's doing the really, the touching of the body.
Yeah.
And when I realized that old man had said Norman and Carol brought love to the Mancos Valley, I was like, oh my God, we need to get this out and teach this. But I went back to Grandfather and I said, I don't know. If I get involved in this thing, it's probably just going to build my ego. And he turns to me and he says, if you don't get involved, that's your ego.
Wow. That's powerful.
That was it.
That was it.
That was like there was no choice of me having to be involved, and that was 29 years ago.
Wow. Well, bless you, because, as you have said so many times, he's the stooge who took it out into the world, but it was, it was the timing had to be, and you stepped into it and accepted that responsibility.
And I like being a stooge.
You're so good at it. You really are.
Sometimes when I give a talk or something, I share how even fools can do this, and I've proven that because I'm one of the biggest fools on the planet.
Right.
People go, oh no, you're a very kind, loving person. Well, yeah, but I'm also a fool, so.
I just show that other part more often, right?
So, so that's how I got involved in. And it's like we're talking about the Affluency. 29 years later, I'm still thrilled to be offering BioTouch. People say to me all the time, do you still work here? And I'm like, well, yeah, I touch people 3 times a week, so I do all the housework here, and still, if I'm not going to touch, then there's no need to have the organization.
Exactly.
That's the whole key is the touching, not all the book work and the membership and all this stuff we do.
Right, because that's really what this is all about, is getting it out there. Can I say that you live a very affluent life holding BioTouch, and you enrich all of our lives from that. Yeah.
Oh, well, that was nice.
Yes.
So because of that, we're going to teach you some points.
Yeah.
All right. And today we want to teach you from our manual. There's our manual there.
Yep.
And we want to teach you the sets of points that we're going to do in our workshop, which is a week from this Thursday
Yes.
for high blood pressure and heart conditions. And so we're going to teach you the heart. This set of points may be used for conditions relating to the heart, veins, blood pressure, and circulation. To perform this set, first find hold point X, which is on the breastbone, directly between where the nipples would be on a youth. Another way to find X is by measuring 1/3 of the way up the breastbone from greeting point 1. To address the well-being of the heart, hold X and with the other hand touch points 1 and 2. These points may be found by imagining a line running from the notch at the top of the breastbone to a place on the left breast where the nipple would be on a youth. Divide this diagonal line into thirds. Point 1 is at the top of the first third. Point 2 is at the top of the second third. Veins, blood pressure, and circulation may be addressed by touching point 3 in addition to points 1 and 2. Point 3 is at the soft indentation just above the collarbone, above and to the left of the notch at the top of the breastbone. There you go. That is the heart set.
Very
And
simple, but wow, is that powerful.
it is. We have actually worked with, we had a practitioner here, and he was having a heart attack while he was working with us.
Oh,
And the two of the other practitioners started doing the heart and blood pressure set on him while they got him into the car to run him to the hospital, which is just down the road.
right.
And interestingly, by the time they got to the hospital, which was not even a 5-minute drive to the ER,
Right.
he was fine.
Wow.
And when they checked him in, his heart and blood pressure was fine. And he'd had recurring things of heart attack things, but this one he sort of didn't have to have the heart attack. So it's great in emergency situations.
It really is, and we're always encouraging everyone, because BioTouch is so integrative and so complementary to everything, but we always encourage people in that growth of self-awareness to stay with their routine or the regimen, whatever it is, but in an emergency situation, oh man,
Yep.
I mean, it's perfect. I mean, you have a tool.
I know.
You have something. You can actually step in and do something.
And it works.
And it
So
works.
that's going to be next Thursday. That'll
Next
be the
Thursday,
25th, 6 p.m. If you're a massage therapist out there, or you know any massage therapists, encourage them to come along. They can get 2 CE credits for that.
Yeah.
It's just a $15 class.
Right.
And we give you a little workbook on how to work those particular sets of points. If you want the whole manual, also if you want just a preview of the workbook, there's a link on this posting of this video. Just click on that and give us your email. We'll send you the free preview, which then has a
Yeah.
link to the whole ebook if you'd like to learn the whole set of points.
Right.
And we have a class coming up in June 10th and 11th. That's filling
Boy.
up quick. We might have to start saying you can't take any. We have to limit the class
That
because
class
we're
is getting
yeah.
crammed.
It's almost
Wow.
like 20 people for that.
I
so-
know, it's awesome.
So maybe BioTouch is finally ready to be out there in society.
Oh, I think it is.
Yeah.
I think the reason is because humanity itself is ready
Right.
to, to step in and empower their lives, and that's what BioTouch does. It helps us in the growth of self-awareness to empower and take responsibility for our lives. That's really what we're all meant to do.
Yes, and that reminds me, today you will have your blog being posted about the heart and the flow and the body and the cell. It's a very good blog. We hope you'll read it. You can either find it on our website. It should be posting today, and we'll send you an email with a link to it also. Good job on that.
Oh, well, thank you.
We had to have something for you here because she's leaving tomorrow.
Yes, but only for a little time.
Yes.
I'll be-
Tell us where you're going.
Oh, I'm going to go to Oregon, beautiful Oregon, and spend some time with my brother.
I know. That's
my brother,
nice.
yeah. So you can kind of explain to them what we're going to do next
Yeah,
week.
so next week we have a new format for our live broadcast. It's a Q&A through a different kind of a program, and it's going to allow me to be here and Bev to be in Oregon, and it'll put us on two different screens, and it'll allow us to actually get your questions shown on the website. So please, next
Yeah.
week, tune in, type in some questions, and we want to see how this works. It's supposed to be a really good Q&A. We won't be able to show any sets of points and all the other graphics.
Right. But, it'd be great. I mean, we'll both be side by side.
Side by
and
side.
we
We'll
would
even be
love
able to look at each
and
other.
look at each other. And it'll give us an opportunity to really check this out, because this is just, another medium that we can use. And we're excited about having the opportunity. And so I'll be.
Okay, well, you
tuning
have a
in.
good trip.
Thank you. I will.
And we'll see you all next week. Have a great week.
And have a glorious week,
Yes,
everybody.
all right, take
Yes.
care.
Bye.